evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Big Daddy here from Altamont Springs, Florida. I'm just putting the boys and my little girl to bed, babysitting, Peepaw's babysitting. And thank you to all my sponsors. You saw them beforehand. They are the greatest. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, John Young. Also, tonight, I get to have on my show one of my closest brothers of all time, one of my biggest mentors and inspirational. As I told John before, I could talk to this man for days at a time and listen to every word he has to say. So right now, I'd like to introduce from Santa Clarita, California, the one and only Mr. George Lopez.
Yay.
George,
Thank you. It's
how
an
are
honor to
you?
be with you, brother.
Always a pleasure, my friend. How you doing? How you holding up out there? You know, that bad weather and everything, in LA.
Yeah, hey, we got some raindrops yesterday. It was pretty brutal. So,
Oh, no. Oh, no, you didn't come out the house, did you?
in LA, people can't drive in the rain, man. So
Oh,
it's
no,
like,
absolutely not. Well, let's get right to the mat. How, before you became a mobile DJ,
mhm.
you were something else. How did you get started from where you were to what you became?
Well, I actually got involved in radio. That was my thing. I did start doing the DJ thing. There was a partner and we kind of borrowed money, him from his dad, me from my grandfather, and we bought our first sound system, Serwin Vega, big old PD-18s and the amplifiers. And I remember everything was in boxes. You'd take it out to events, and it was like there was no consoles and rigs. And, I see the stuff now, a little, basically a controller, a laptop. It's like, but it was all of that, and it started off us just doing the things to have some fun and everything. But I got involved in radio, and that was going to be the career, was working radio, and I did it for 15 years. I was an on-air talent, one of those crazy morning guys. Wake up in the morning, a lot of trivia games and all that stuff, and it was a lot of fun. It was really awesome because I did radio, but I still did the DJ work live. And it was a thing about live work that the radio was awesome, very theater of the mind for those that are listening or watching that understand radio. It's about being in a room, but you got to understand you're talking to many, many people. And so you have to kind of connect with them in this kind of psychological way. But performing, DJing live, you got the instant response. The people are there, boom, you drop that song, you say that quip on the mic, that reacted. So I was really blessed. I got to do both. And as they both just went on, and I had a great time until it got to a point where I realized it was tough getting up at 3 a.m. to be on the air at 5 a.m, and then doing parties sometimes, like in December, doing parties until midnight, 1 o'clock. I literally would go home from some parties, sleep in my car for 2 hours. My radio partner would wake me up to go into the station and then do a shift,
Oh,
and it got rough, but yeah, but that was the idea. And then eventually it just decided to go more on the business side and run the company, and I ended up retiring from radio to run the business.
and J&M has been an entertainment company for how long?
What are we at? 44 years now?
So you were 3 years old when you started.
Pretty much. I think I was just being born.
And you are not just a DJ company. You are AV, event lighting, casino, soup to nuts. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's quite a bit of stuff. It all started with the DJ business, and we still do that. We still have the DJs, MCs, photo booths, and lighting, video, do weddings, quinceañeras, holiday, corporate parties, picnics, all that. But we also grew into the AV production side of things. So it's kind of wrapped up full circle with some other services, and it just worked really well for us. And it's been a really good fit, especially these last 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm. So, what drives you? What is your passion that makes you love this business that we're in?
On the entertainment side, it's really knowing that we can't have a bad day, you know? And the reason for that is like, and no disrespect to any other jobs or careers or anything, but if you're working in a store or something like that, you have kind of a bad day, it wasn't great. You didn't give the great customer service. But when you're a DJ, an entertainer, an MC, our bad day is somebody's greatest day of their life. It's their wedding, it's their mitzvah, it's their quinceañera, their debut, it's a big anniversary event. It's some big momentous moment. And we can't have a bad day, you know? I mean, are we superhuman? No, but just understanding that, and I think it's actually exciting to have that level of commitment and kind of demand on ourselves of we can't roll this in. You can't mail this in. You really got to deliver because there's just too much at stake and there's too much that matters. And that's the drive for me. Just knowing that you get a chance to go in and have an impact. And I think DJs watching this will understand, you know, you walk into a room, and I've always liked it where like a planner would come over to us and, you know, like, oh, you know, this crowd is, you know, I've done these events, you know, and they don't dance a lot. You know, they're kind of a low key crowd, and you know, they're giving you all that, and you're just inside going, woo, let's go.
Oh,
You know?
challenge accepted.
Yeah. You know, it is. And it's fun though, because it's fun to actually get you amped up to want to the harder they say they don't dance or this or they haven't whatever, it's fun to go in there because now you can truly do something special, you know. You know, when you have a group that drinks or parties or this or that, that's great. They party every Friday, Saturday, but that's not that special. But doing something like that, I think it's really knowing that you can take these people out of their comfort zone to
Mhm.
do something that they will truly remember a long time because they'll go back to, especially when you play a song in a certain way where you anchor the moment with emotion, where, you know, 7 years later, that song comes up and they go right back to that wedding and they remember that again. And you did that by programming that moment. That's pretty awesome.
Love it. And that's that to go back real quick to what you started with. You can't have a bad day. What you and I have been through, and I will get personal for just a minute. George and I went through the big C word pretty much simultaneously in 2013, 2012 into 2013. And in our line of business, you can't have a bad day no matter what, because they hired us before we got sick and everything. You cannot, that will stick with me forever. You can't have a bad day because we are a part of some of the most momentous occasions ever. And
Yeah.
that will stick with me for, you know, what is your passion for not just the DJ part, but every part of what you do?
Well,
What do
you
you
know,
love to
and
do?
Papa, and for me, it's like I still DJ, not as
Mhm,
much, but I still DJ. I MC more.
mhm.
Um, and but even within all that, I'm at an owner standpoint now of running the company, and we have a lot of the young, you know, guys working with the company. And I'll tell you, my passion now personally, and this is if we have a lot of young, you know, DJs listening, it's to see what your legacy will be, what your journey will be of where you will go. And for those others who have been in the business a while like us, you know, to kind of reflect back on it and say, what's the impact that you have? For me, it's knowing that I have an impact not just on the guests anymore. You know, I used to want to be the best DJ, and then I wanted to be the best MC, and then I wanted to be the best owner, you know, the best owner, not just a profitable company or whatever, but a positive culture where people were excited to go to work and people were happy and et cetera. And that's the one that's maintained with me now is I love the fact that I get to work with a lot of 20 and 30-year olds, you know, some even teenagers. And that helps me, I think, keeps me fresh and relevant and everything else. But I love that I get to mentor people and a lot of these guys. It's funny, just the other day we were doing this event, a corporate fundraising gala event, et cetera. And at that event, some of the guys were asking me about like, do I invest in stocks and stuff, and how do I do it, and when did I do it, and this and that. And then I started teaching them about a Roth IRA. You know, and these are guys who are in their 20s, you know, and it was just exciting to see their eyes light up and being able to have an impact on their lives beyond just music and entertainment. But like they were just like, wow, this whole thing about a Roth IRA is a great thing to do when they're young and this, and just kind of giving them that kind of um, education. In many cases, they're not getting it from their own parents and stuff. So I take that responsibility on, and it's great to have that opportunity to also impact and whether they work at the company for look 10 years or they're there for 6 months. I love the fact that when they leave, they will have been impacted at some level of something they're going to take with them that will matter to them long term. And that's pretty awesome.
Ugh, love it. And we're going to go family for a minute. There's a young gentleman that is working for you now who I've known for a long time, your son, Lorenzo. This kid, I'm watching this kid, and I could not be prouder of everything he's pulling off. And watching this kid who had that really high voice way back when, and now he's got that real deep voice. I'm like, wait a minute, where's my little boy? What happened? But tell me about that with Lorenzo, you and Lorenzo teaming up to do this stuff.
Well, the bigger picture of that, you know how they always talk about this, like don't mix family and business and this and that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what? I've said it all along with J&M, our company. I've always said that if we had a mascot, it would be a bumblebee. And the reason is the bumblebee is not supposed to fly, right? Because its body mass is too large for the size of its wings, but it flies just because it doesn't know any better. And I always joked around that that was me. I didn't have a ton of business acumen or everything else when I started at 18 years old, actually 17 when I started doing this. I didn't have a lot of it. I learned it along the way and then I did, et cetera. But we've been a family business all along. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
wife is, in the business. She works in the business. And for many years, I've had nephews and nieces and my sister and so many people that have come through in these years that have all gone through. It became like a legacy thing within all my family. Like the nephews would want to get old enough to work at J&M, and it was
Mm-hmm.
great because it was this path through experience for them and all. But to now get to the point where Lorenzo is my son, who's now 20, and he literally is helping run the business at 20. And what he's learned in tech, I mean, he's already certified audio A1 technician, lighting, video. He leads, the teams. He's an event lead on, these large production events and et cetera. And even when I'm out, when we're DJing a job or something like that, it's funny because he'll drop songs on me, like, Dad, play this, Dad, play that.
Like,
That's
Dad, what
pretty
are you
fun.
doing? Listen, old
But
man, what do
you
you
know
think
what's
you're
great
doing?
about it, Papa, is I just mentioned this the other day to someone. It's spending time, and I know it's not supposed to work. You're not supposed to mix family and this and that. But man, we have a lot of fun. I mean, our relationship has actually gotten better since he got involved in the business, and I never pushed him into it. I always was like, he kind
Mm-hmm.
of started helping me out coming out of the last 4 years, right? He kind of just would go out and start helping me out, and then he just started lighting it up, and he's so technologically knowledgeable. It became, he just picked things up fast, and so we have a lot of fun. It's really, we just went to San Francisco to do a 3-day conference up there. So that was a whole road trip, 4 days. And,
Oh,
having those kind of experiences are pretty cool. It's a lot of fun.
uh, it's just folks that are listening out there. You're going to find out how to get a hold of this man. It's just there's a quote that you said coming out of 2020 into 2021 that will stick with me and a lot of people that heard it and saw it will stick with them. And if you folks haven't heard it, I want George, give me that big quote, George, about your
Um,
company.
well, prefacing it, I saw a lot of my friends in this industry, we got devastated, right? From
Oh
all
yeah.
over the place, unless you're in Texas or Florida where nothing happened.
Right.
But but we're in California. It really happened. But with all of that, I just saw a lot of my friends, these people that are just confident business leaders, great performers, etc. And I saw how rattled they were, everyone. And it really hit me. And I remember prepping up. We were going to have a virtual conference, and I was putting together a presentation. And as I was doing it, it was about how to, turn a problem in, into an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that stuck in my mind, I was thinking how many times we've all done that. We're stuck in our business, whether you're a solopreneur or you're running a multi-op or whatever. But how many times we've said, if I were gonna start this over again, I wouldn't do this, this, and this. And I tell you what I would do this and this. But we never take the time to do that because we're too busy in the daily routine.
Right.
Well, this last 4 year ago deal, it did that for us. It did a huge reset, and it gave us that opportunity to rebuild the business we really wanted, not to rebuild the business we had. Because if your business before 2020, if it was, if you were running a C business, which yeah, it's okay, it's a little profitable, and you book some really good jobs, and then you do some discounted ones, and then this, and then you donate your services and all these things that you might do, that's fine. But if it was a C, why would you fight to go back to that when you could say, hey, stop doing this and this and start doing this and put yourself in a better situation? And by the way, that doesn't just mean money. It doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
making more money. It might have been taking more control of your time and being able to do things more that you wanted to with your family or friends or travel or take better care of yourself health wise or whatever it was. And so I think it really gave us that opportunity. And I've talked to a lot of people, thankfully, who have really grabbed onto that. And I'm very proud of that. I'm glad to see that it really resonated with so many.
It did, and you know what? It should resonate with pretty much everybody because you know what? We're all everybody's. We're a little light. Everybody's whatever. But don't do what you used to do. Do something a little different but better, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But with everything you've got going on, and I'm watching, I'm seeing everything, and every time you do a seminar or anything, it hits home right away. And when is your next speaking engagement, by the way? When are you doing another one?
I actually just did a couple of them that I just finished off. So I don't have any scheduled right now that I'm doing right now. I got a pretty busy production schedule taking us in through May. So I'm glad for that. That was good. Matter of fact, I was at USC all day today, and I got to be there early tomorrow morning for a big conference on blockchain that I'm directing a show on that.
Cool,
So
cool.
and and
Oh,
I'm a USC fan, so anytime I can be on the campus, it's great because I get to walk around and act like I'm a student, so I feel smarter.
oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, definitely. Walk around with the cap and gown on and all that good stuff. Find Bronny there somewhere. But let's get back to the thing that hit home with me tonight, with everything that you've said. We can't have a bad day. Yes, we all have our struggles, this, that, the other thing. But when it comes to these wonderful folks hiring us for one of the most important days of their life, whether it be a wedding, like you said, everything else, we have to be at our very, very best each and every time we walk through that door. And and the thing is, when somebody like you walks into a room, the mood changes in the room already because they know, and these people hired your company for a reason, and you want that to be you want that to be you, my folks out there. You want that to be you, not the pat on the back or this or that. And Davey Hanscom said this. I want to bring this up real quick. One of the things he said: always keep giving, never keep score. This man right here, never, always giving of his knowledge and everything else, but never we can never have a bad day. That's what stuck with me forever. Now, real quick, two or three lessons or takeaways these guys can take from you that
Okay.
they will use over the weekend or whatever. Something, a nugget, if you will.
Okay. My personal three that I would share that are relevant in my philosophy of how I see entertaining and doing events like this. I think the first one of this is to understand the difference between a gig and an event. Okay. Because I see on the chat boards, I see groups, I see this, that, and the other, and different, pages and stuff. And people, oh, this charging, and these people charge this, and people charging lower and higher, and this, and people think they're better now, whatever it is. I see all that, but then I look at it and then I hear people referring to somebody's greatest day of their life as a gig. Yeah, I did 2 gigs last week. I do 5 gigs. I did 500 gigs last year. I've never met in my 44 years, I've never met a couple for a wedding or a family putting together a quinceañera or a mitzvah or something, thrilled to call that, 30, 40, 50, 80, $100,000 production a gig. And this is my definition. It could be
Mm-hmm.
different. My definition is a gig is when you go into a club to jam, to do your thing. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do a gig. I'm going to drop some beats, DJing wise, or a musician is going to bang with, just play with some fellas. That's a gig. An event is somebody else's experience that you're going to create for them. That's an event. And to me, that's my thing. That's my company's called J&M Events, not J&M Gigs. And in our company, it's funny. Whenever we onboard somebody and they say the word gig, all the rest of the guys will say, like, where are you working at? Oh, where are you at? We don't do those here. But I think understanding that is really important. Two, and this is an interesting one, it's truly understanding what is important to your clients. We all think we do, and many times, especially in the sales side, right, we'll go into, let me talk about the million songs I have, or the equipment, the state of the art, and the new, and the EV evolves and the QSEs and all this great equipment, and we get into all of that. or start telling them how we rocked this other event and we did tons of engaging, before we've even found out what do they want, what do they value. And it reminds me of one of my favorite stories ever of a gentleman named Bob Popick, who I saw speak in Las Vegas at one of the Mobile Beat shows many years ago. And he told a story about, he was a customer service consultant. He was just really well known for this. And it's a great story that he gets in an elevator in Orlando, and he's in the elevator, and suddenly he realizes that there's just him and this other man in the elevator, and the other man is the president of Worldwide Marriott Hotels. And he says, wow, and he thinks about it. So he turns to him and he says, can I ask you a question? And, kind of reluctantly, he says, sure. And he says, if you could say one thing to all the people that have ever stayed at a Marriott hotel worldwide, what would you say to them? And then you go into asking people, what do you think he would say? And many people, when I ask this, say, oh, he would say, thank you. He would say, please come stay with us again. We hope your experience was great, blah, blah, blah. And this is a true story. Bob Popick, he says, the president thought about it for a minute. He turned to him and he said, I would say to them, the shower curtain goes inside the tub. And that was awesome. It was gold, because who knows that he just came from some financial meeting where they just cost, $80 million worldwide for all the water damages in all their hotels or something. So don't ever assume what your clients want. Really ask the right questions and find out what truly matters to them before you start spewing out all the stuff that you do. And then the last one kind of goes to what we've been talking about, Papa. And that is, in the DJ industry, it's very competitive. A lot of that's been happening lately. I've heard, what's going on with people, and my calendar's not full as much as this, and maybe people aren't getting back to me, or budgets, whatever it might be. But if you really sit and look at it, that it's competitive, there's a lot of DJs out there. But to know that, hey, out of all the people that they met with at that bridal show, or that were on these preferred vendor lists, or that were referred to them by their friends and families, and all these people, they hired you. Okay. They hired you out of all of that. And now it's your opportunity to go in and prove them right for doing that and picking you. That's the third tip I would give them, is don't ever forget, don't take it for granted that you're a rock star and a superstar. Always go in there with humility to show that you've got to prove something every single time, because you want to prove these clients. Because your clients, I'm telling you, they're having friends going, how much are you paying for a DJ? You're crazy. Oh my gosh, you could have got this other guy for $200 or whatever. And they're paying more for you. Okay. They're getting that heat from their friends and family. Trust me, I've seen it. Go in there and prove them right. And make them look good. Exactly. That's what you want to do.
Challenge accepted. That right there is what it's all about, folks. Making that family, couple, whatever, they chose you. That sticks in my heart more than anything. Just know this man right here, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. That will stick with me for forever. They hired you. Georgie, tell them how they can get a hold of you, please.
You can just, Instagram is a really easy one, just at J&M Events. You can go in there, see stuff that we do, get some ideas of things that we're doing and things like that. But you can always just send me a message that way, get a hold of us. And if somebody has a question or something, always happy to help. I mean, that's what, like I said, it's one of my joys, is just being able to have an impact, help out people with whatever I can.
Awesome. Well, my friends, I know you got a lot out of this, and everything that this man said, from not having a bad day to creating experiences and everything, gig versus everything. Listen to it once, listen to it twice, whatever. George, my friend, I am honored to call you a brother. We have been brothers and friends for a very long time. We've been through a lot together. I am honored to call you my brother, and I thank you for being here with us this evening.
I'm waiting for the Amazon truck. Where's the ice cream? I was promised ice cream in this thing with
Wait a minute, with the thoughtful toppings and everything. Listen, you get a happy
anybody
bag.
Out there in the driveway?
You get a big daddy bag with gaff tape and some microphone wires and stuff in it from all my sponsors. That's
wait, gaff tape and stuff. I saw this in Law and Order, buddy. I don't know what you're up to.
Well, my friend, I am honored. I thank you so very much. We will chat. John, thank you very much. Real quick, next week, Mr. Joe Zahn. amazing remixer, everything else, and one of the nicest guys in the world. He will be with me next week. George, thank you again. Everybody out there, Big Daddy loves you. Have a great night.